Meeting, man.
Hey, everybody. Great to be with you. Chuck Cook, John Main Bailey, Jesse Bliss, and Zach New. This is not a scheduled time. We don't expect a lot of people to be live with us, but we really wanted to talk about the DORCAS decision. This is the decision out of Rhode Island, which basically put a pause on the pause memos, as well as what I call the discrimination memos. You can call it what you want. I did a discrimination memo. And I just want to talk about that. Zach, you were kind of front and center today. Give us your take on this.
Yeah, so it's 135 pages, so it's really long.
Written in 2 days, right? I mean, when was the
a little bit longer than 2 days, but yeah, the court there, I caught the tail end of the argument. The judge there was furious. I mean, he was just basically yelling at the government attorneys. So his opinion is pretty similar. He's pretty upset. He's got some real bangers in here. The kind of bottom line is he ordered the pause memoranda and the negative factors policies and the other kind of policies that are in those to be vacated. So that is terrific news.
What does that mean for us? What does that mean for our plaintiffs in our case?
It's been like 6 hours since this thing came out. So it kind of remains to be seen how this is going to play out from here. What it means at minimum is that we have an opinion from a judge kind of on the merits. This is a summary judgment decision, not a preliminary injunction, saying this thing is super, super illegal. Here's 135 pages about why it's illegal. And here's why I'm ordering it to be vacated. So at the very least, it's going to be incredibly powerful authority for every pause case and every negative factors case out there. Kind of what remains to be seen is what happens next as far as the government, what they're going to do. They could request that this be stayed. This is something that we sometimes see in these large scale cases where a big policy is vacated. The government says to a higher court, hey, put a pause on this decision being implemented while we wait for this appeal to go through. So that's something that they could do. We don't know if they will. They could appeal this decision. It's unclear if they will. I think the current bets are that they're not going to, but we don't know for sure. It's possible they do, it's possible that they don't. It's going to be, filed in every single case, and everybody's going to say, hey, issue the PI because this is now an illegal policy because it's been vacated as well. So it's bottom line, just like tremendously good news for every pause case out there right now. And it is quite the read.
Jesse's got to bow out here a few minutes, but Jess, give us your take on this.
Yeah, I think it's probably not too bad for the government because they've been losing so many cases. So that's my honest take. I think they could use it to say that there is no more pause and you just haven't got what you received. This is probably where they should have started rather than being so overtly discriminatory. But
to put this in, I want to be able to understand this for people to understand a little bit. Good for the government in that because they're losing so much around the country, now they can say, Judge, they're stopped.
Well, they're going to say, well, this person's just trying to skip over this person, and we're just so busy we can't do our job. And I think that the next evolution for these cases is going to be, you put me on the shelf for 5 months, and we just had this conversation. But if you judge where I started from, I should have been processed long before. So you can't. That 5 months of unlawfulness that you subjected me to is an injury, right? You may, and you haven't corrected it yet,
So what this means, I think, for us, let me get your take on this. We did, in none of our cases did we file a mandamus. We never said, take me out of line for any of our plaintiffs. What we're saying now is, we're still not saying that. What we're saying is, just put me back where I was.
Put me back where I was. And I think the next question, the government's going to say, well, we don't know where that is. And I think that's going to be the argument for the judges.
Why do you think you're going to say that, Jess? Why do you think they're going to say, well, I don't know?
They don't track it. And then they're also going to say, if we shut down the line and we do first in, first out, we shouldn't have to speed up the conveyor belt. We'll just start it as if it's January and everybody will be treated the same. And I think that the argument, that doesn't work. because people are out of work, out of status, and can't change their status. And so we need them to actually not restart the program, because remember, those memos said we're doing everything except the decision. So there should be a million decisions tomorrow.
Instantaneous. Right? Should
No,
be
absolutely. It should be. They should have them ready to go. So it should be okay. Release. It should be like a dam, right? Release.
Are you suggesting they were lying about that?
I don't know. I mean, I will tell you, when they've been ordered to issue a benefit decision, they've done it quickly.
Well, except for doctors, and
Right.
but if the judge says you have 7 days, they can do that in 7 days.
Yeah, they can. Well, no, and they've done it for like oath ceremonies that were canceled, for people with NATs. I mean, they've been choosy for sure, but they've taken in a lot of money and they've done a lot of work allegedly. So I hope maybe that the DORCAS counsel, which, you know, they're obviously brilliant, will go back if we don't start to see some really strong decisions, like a number of decisions in the next week or two. I don't know. I think an appeal from the government would be an absolute gift for us. Seeing, you know, I don't think this survives even the Supreme Court. I don't think you can choose to stop benefit adjudications after taking money based on where people were born. I'm not going to love work. It better not. I mean, geez, I'll have to go to Canada.
Hopefully, Judge Grimberg is reading the decision as we speak. John, tell me, do you think the government's adjudicating cases like they said they were?
So I think this goes back to Jesse's point. Where are they going in the line? And I think we could know where they should go because it's based on filing date. But everyone on this call knows that first in, first out is a myth that USCIS continues to say that how they process.
You know, the good news is there is that private group, Boundless, the private equity folks, who do track the volume of their cases with their tech to let people know how long immigration is taking. So presumptively, you could get a hold of this data. You could separate out the people that were subject to the pause and say, hey, non-pause people are on March 5th. So all of our pause people who were before March 5th, you need to adjudicate in a week.
You know what would be amazing effort by the entire community is if we had this kind of open source tracking that wasn't tucked away in signal groups and Telegram groups that I don't subscribe to. Yeah. But if people were to report, hey, I got processed today, like for 45s, that would be extremely important. Even if it was anonymous, just like filing date, if we had like a website where we created it and people could, and we could catch them.
That's what Boundless does, right, with their clients.
Oh, is that what they do? I don't even know who you're talking about. Is that what they do? Because they're smart.
It's a private equity law firm. But you know who does have the capability of running a report about that? The USCIS clearly has the capability of running a report on this.
So much faith in the agency, Chuck.
Well, you know, I just hope the USCIS Joe has a really terrible.
There was an important point to also in DORCAS was the judge struck down the negative factor.
Yes, that's a big thing, especially for us in our case.
Yeah. So anybody who's responding to RFEs and NOIDs, make sure to put in there that, you know, this request actually is not lawful as of today. I will address it because I'm brilliant. I'm a doctor. I'm an engineer, whatever. But just so you know, this RFE really should be rescinded.
You cannot use what you said in the RFE to deny my case. Thank you very much. Have a very nice day.
Yeah.
So it is in our case. Let's talk about what I've done today. And I know Jess and I know Zach's working on this. Jess probably doing the same thing. I actually, in our Georgia case, I emailed government counsel, and I said, "This is our EAD case, right? The EADs that are left in Georgia." I said, "Counsel, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but the policies your client was using to deny our clients their EADs is now gone. Will you adjudicate these in 7 days and end so we can end the TRO early?" I'm not going to hear back until Monday. But Zach, what are we doing with the other 39 country cases with pending submission?
For the cases that I have where I'm just talking to the government lawyer, same thing. I just sent a decision over and I was like, not sure if you saw this, but maybe we can just get this whole thing taken care of. For the cases that are kind of in progress, we're waiting for the PIs, things like that. We issue submitting notices of supplemental authority saying, hey, judge, just, FYI, another judge said that these whole things are vacated and illegal. So
yeah, so we're going to be
maybe go ahead and order that everybody is no longer subject to these. So it's a bunch of notices being sent to all the courts saying, "Hey guys,
I'm sure it's a record
decision."
I'm sure it's a record number of submissions of supplemental authority. So it's good. It's a good case. It's also a very good read. It's online. You can get a hold of it. It's a very good read. And I think this, they use the strategy that Jesse loves, which is they filed for summary judgment. Now the judge did not give them a permanent injunction because he said, I don't really think I should. I mean, because it's unlawful. I mean, presumably they could redo something maybe, but I'm not going to do a permanent injunction, but it's clearly unlawful under the law, period, end of story. And he did a really great job of addressing each one individually. So kudos to, I know people always want to do the PI, but because this was summary judgment, the judge could issue that injunction and then end it for everybody. So, and I do think it ends it for everybody. Jesse, you have anything else to add there before? I know you got to run. Before I just pull up just a few questions that folks had here. We don't have a lot of questions, but we have a few.
No, I just think that the next phase though is people should not email and say I haven't got my benefit yet. I don't think that's happening quickly.
Don't email Zach this weekend. Really, Jack needs a break. He's got a 3.5-hour oral argument on Wednesday. He doesn't need any more. We talked about what happens in the 39 country podcast cases. It will depend on the case. Depend on its structure, depend on where we are. So we'll talk more about this on our next live next Wednesday because we'll have some perspective at that point. Do you think we should do premium processing for 539 cases now?
This is really
you want to reward the government? You want to give them more money? Let's wait and see how USCIS reacts to this first before you give them an additional $700. Jana's got I hate premium processing, but Jana, what do you?
I didn't mean to interrupt Zach. I think there's a flip side of that if your case is already filed under premium processing, you should reach out to counsel to say, hey, can you shoot premium processing unit an email and get my case going? Because certainly, yeah, it's time.
You do have an email on that. I don't know if you caught this, but in his testimony, Secretary Mullen, who somebody said was the dumbest senator before he got put in, but that cannot be the case. It cannot be because Marsha Blackburn is still in the Senate.
Fight the Teamsters president.
So I think he was the third dumbest U.S. senator, but he said, he said there was 200,000 H-1B fees paid. That was not true. I think what he meant was immigration's received 200,000 premium processing payments.
Yeah.
And now I'm not really good at math, but let's say the average is $2,000 for a premium processing fee, and he got 200,000 of them. Isn't that like $400 million? What did they do with this money? 400. They certainly didn't hire anybody.
They sent it to ICE. He's the guy who challenged the Teamsters president to a fist fight, if you recall.
That's the guy. He might have won him. The guy's been a plumber for a long time. For DV pause, which should I register for the lawsuit or should I have register? So if you are a DV case, we are onboarding for the DV case. Just go to Impact and do that. We are not currently onboarding for additional 75 country pause case because we're in the final throes of pleadings on that. Second case lawsuit.
The question I think is if I'm subject to the 75 country pause, but one DV, do I?
We're challenging that pause in the DV case. So yeah, you should definitely.
You can still be in the DV case even if you're subject to the 75 country.
Yes, the fee, we charge $1,000 for that fee. Should we expect the same decision on 100,000 declarations?
Someday, maybe we'll get a decision.
I don't know. You got me. I got nothing on that. When do you think Judge Leon is going to take action on the DV case? I guess both DV cases. I don't know. Hopefully soon. We've had Judge Leon before in cases. He has never sat interminably on a case. I've never had him do that. And he is the ballroom judge. And he certainly didn't sit on that case. So, by the way, did you hear that Trump can tear down the Statue of Liberty if he wants? That's the government's official position in the ballroom case. Thought that was hilarious. Do you think the first lawsuit helps the second round lawsuit? If so, well, clearly it helps the second round lawsuit if we win.
You get some specific stuff. So just from oral argument I had on Wednesday, the judge had clearly read like every single case involving this. So he had all of this ready to go. And I know people weren't happy with the outcome of the Georgia case, but a lot of the reasoning was really actually pretty helpful. Like the fact that the reason given for the pause was national security, but the people who are subject to the pause are already in the United States. So how does this sync up? There's not really this.
Judge Grimberg kind of talked about that a little bit in his decision.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Really confusing. He was really confusing what he wrote. I just don't think he grasped.
The first case did help because this type of reasoning is exactly what the judge that I was just in oral argument with was talking about. He's like, I don't understand how this syncs up. Why is there any additional security risk for somebody extending their status in the United States when they're already here?
You know what's telling? I was thinking about this today, Zach. Anybody been denied for security risk in the last 6 months?
That's the other thing. So we argue.
Nobody's been denied for it. So you've spent all this time, all this money, delaying a case through security analysis, and nobody? Yeah, I think that speaks volumes. Somebody thinks this is an excellent discussion, so I appreciate that. Guys, is it possible that U.S. comes up with the worst memo targeting 39 countries?
I wouldn't put it past them.
Anything is possible. Oh, I'm sorry. That's good. Anything is possible at USCIS. But I think they got their hands slapped finally strongly. And maybe they move on. They're moving on to EADs now. I mean, they're moving on to students now. So maybe they'll leave this one behind and go forward. Let's see. What about Tro in the Yilla case?
Yeah.
Tro. TRO in the Yilla case. Zach, you got anything on that one?
It's filed. We're just waiting for kind of next steps from the judge there. We'll be letting them know about the DORCAS case for sure. And that would be terrific if they were like, oh, you know what? Here you go, guys.
No, this is actually a good point, Zach. I know you do a lot of DACA to people. I'm sure you do some too, Jonna. But there's these 39. Really the 75 country ban is really affecting the DACA kids. Now they're generally just delaying DACA anyway. But at this point, I think a lot of people are starting to file mandamus actions on DACA cases. They just are. It's
a lot of people, and the processing times are long. Yeah, it's absurd. It's a terrible situation.
And honestly, if you're more than 3.5 months waiting for your DACA and your EAD is expiring, you should be filing a mandamus. Period. It's inexcusable.
Going back to tracking, I have lots of DACA clients who track themselves amongst the people they know. And someone raised a question, which I didn't actually know the answer to, is whether people filing outside the 6-month window are being targeted and delayed more than the people filing 6 months prior to the expiration. Do you have better?
I do, because I've been advocating. I've been advocating to file a year in advance because you just can't trust these people.
Yeah.
You can't trust these people. And I have some of them get approved in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I have some that get approved in 9 months. But I also the same thing apply to people that applied 3 months beforehand. So I don't think they're targeting anybody. I don't think they're smart enough. What clearly happened in DACA and what's causing this delay, besides they don't like DACA, is they took people off the product line.
Right.
Just come off the product line. Immigration lost 20% of their adjudicators under DOGE, and they haven't hired anybody. And then they've assigned people to look at every NATS case for the last 5 years and then look at every permanent resident case for the last 20 years. Where do you think the people are coming from? They're the officers that would normally be doing DACA and EADs and all this other stuff. Truly, USCIS Joe is clearly the worst USCIS director as far as management is concerned. I think he thinks that his goal is simply just to reduce legal immigration instead of actually provide service. Now, that's just my personal opinion. It does not reflect the views of my co-panelists. Don't judge them by what I say. Thank you for it. It's not our hard work.
USCIS Joe, I love you. Please look at my cases positively.
What about the 75 country pause case? Well, we still feel very confident about that. At least one judge has said, yeah, this is garbage. You have no legal authority to do this. This is in the ALOAs. And he's right. There isn't the legal authority. That's what's really great about, very different from the 39 country cause case, is consular officers do not report to the Secretary of State. This is not USCIS. I mean, they are independent officers. I don't know again, if you guys know this. We just joined our firm a consular officer, John Foget. He just literally last week on Monday he joined us. On Friday he was at the U.S. consulate in Haiti as a consular officer. So he's providing some really interesting insight into the life of a consular officer. So by the way, if you have consular cases that need that touch, the guy was around a long time. He's really, really sharp, very sharp guy. Do you think judge will not give a decision after the DORCAS decision? Well, I think Judge Grimberg is going to give a decision unless the government agrees to issue the EADs, which is what we're asking them to do. So, do you expect? And we're going to file a notice of supplemental authority with the judge as part of our TRO. Government appeal. We already talked about that a little bit earlier on.
First Circuit. That's just Rhode Island is located in the First Circuit.
Yeah, I don't have a chance of getting a stay there. I don't think SCOTUS is going to give a stay on the case either. I don't think they'll even go that far.
The biggest, besides like the national origin discrimination, all this, the fact that there's no statutory authority for it is what makes me think that SCOTUS would be like, even if I don't like immigrants, there's no statutory authority, so I can't do this.
Yeah, can't do it anyway. Why are 765 processing times increasing? That's easy, because I just told you how they were doing it. Fewer people assigned to do the work, and just intentionally not doing them. That's clearly what's happening.
We also know it takes 12 minutes for a 765 to be adjudicated, so it's absurd that it takes as long as it does.
I don't know why it would take 12 minutes to approve one of those. What are they doing? Why are not most of those literally an AI doing? I mean, many of them are automatic.
We haven't gotten the updates since they implemented the Palantir or whatever that.
Well, that's a whole nother thing. Palantir's owner decided to move to Argentina. Yeah, we definitely have issues there. If the DV pause lifted for our DV applicant we interviewed and got white paper, should all people grant visa, or people who only applied for lawsuit only? Our lawsuit only includes plaintiffs, but we might get a decision like this too. So we'll see. Was there a PI order yesterday in the Colorado case? Obviously.
So this is actually, people use different things to like monitor court cases. Court listener doesn't give you like a lot of details, and it just says like order. No, there was no order issued. It's just a thing saying a hearing was held. So it's one page and it says, here are the lawyers, the hearing happened. There was no order issued. It was just like kind of routine administrative filing on the docket.
So how long for the judge to rule in the TRO? Generally, I mean, we didn't ask for an immediate hearing, but generally he'll look at that within 72 hours, but he may give the government time to respond, which would be a week in this case. So we'll see what happens. Are they going to give people the results where they file for a stay and appeal in court? We don't know what USCIS is going to do at this point. Consider a vacater today. Do you mind explaining what happens after a judge issues a ruling? Heard it first goes to the Department of Justice first. Harvard just lost this case. Yes, they got it first.
Department of Justice is a different branch, part of a different branch of the U.S. government. So the judiciary is a different part of the executive branch. It doesn't go to the Department of Justice first. The judge issued a ruling, and it's binding on the parties.
Any situation in which an AP without an immediate family member AOS is going to be useful in the future? AP is, if you're like, I think you may be talking about DACA. That's all it's good for. It's good for if you marry a U.S. citizen or you have a child who's 21. That's what an AP is good for when you have DACA. Other than that, going to see sick grandma. That's the other reason you do it, but it doesn't give you any benefits at all.
Well, Chuck, I will caveat that to say anyone with DACA, I tell them for advanced parole because you don't know what your future holds. So maybe
that's what I say. You don't know if you're going to get married. You don't know this.
Yeah, exactly. Set yourself up now for options in the future. I
have told people not to apply right now for advanced parole for DACA because they're adjudicating them. So you might as well just hold off on applying them. Clearly, that's going to have to be a piece of litigation as well. I mean, immigration took $630 from what? 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people and just don't adjudicate them. Yeah, that's illegal. Let's see. When do you think we should see some good news on 75 pause? Hopefully very soon. That's all we got. Do you think this is great? Do you think public charge bond will be as of an I-945?
They put it. They have it out. I mean, they have it in the regulatory agenda and all that. So it's going through, but it's hard to say. Who knows for sure?
I don't know. Okay. I actually have a Pacer account, a cents per page, but no access to PDFs on immigration cases because immigrations are subject to the Privacy Act, and therefore immigration cases are not available. The printouts are not. We can't even get them unless we're on the case.
Also a scam, anyways. There's no reason. I have to pay for my own filings. I have to pay
I pay for my own stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Of course, they have the new two-factor authentication, but they had a big problem with Pacer a couple of years ago because they got hacked. And people stole all that information at that point. That's why you have the painful two-factor authentication. Finally, U.S. is going to think they can make a new issue now for immigrants. Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the nature of the beast. Anyway, this is kind of an accidental live today. Thank you, Jonna. Thanks for coming in, Zach. You go home, see your baby, have a great weekend. Jonna, you too. Go see your kids. Have a great weekend. I'm going to go finish fixing my UTV, and we'll be in good shape. You guys have a great weekend. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.